If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay? White, middle-aged, men with a family, AARP eligible, the ones that got the AAA, the ones that eat off the IHOP 55 plus menu, you know what I mean? The Medicare eligible ones, give me that. Give me that. Because as far as I'm concerned, the minorities, they like to make you pay back the dues that they had to pay in 1987 when they first got their job as the model minority. And they want to make sure that you have to do it too. Meanwhile, white man, he sees me, he goes, yep, let me give you this special project. What do you need? What's going to advance your career? How can I help you? None of the passive aggressiveness, none of the micromanaging, none of that extra shit, right? Give me Jim, Bob, Bill, give me that. Don't give me the minority, because as far as I'm concerned, anybody that looks like me or identifies as somebody who would be a DEI hire, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Y'all got a chip on y'all shoulder that I personally do not have the brain power to deal with. So as far as I'm concerned, hand me to the nearest white man. Thank you.
Woo, man. Do black people have a chip on their shoulder when they're in higher up positions?
Yeah.
I can't say that. I can't say that's
I wouldn't say.
Who disagrees with her first? Aaliyah, you go first, because I think you gotta go.
I wouldn't say I mean, it is chip on the shoulder because black women feel like we endure all of this. Like we have to be strong and perpetual victims and everything like that. So, I mean, I I mean, it is a chip because we're not approachable and our resting face and everything of that nature. So it's just yeah, I mean, I've experienced a black supervisor and I mean, what she said wasn't so far off. So I mean, yeah, I think so. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I don't.
I have been moved through rooms by multiple different type of people, including black people, because that's what I'm mostly in proximity of. But I don't know. I can't agree with that completely because I've just worked but I'm around I'm in a liberal city. Like I'm right here. Most of the people that are around me, most of the people I'm cool with, a lot of my friends, they are liberal and they black liberal women, men. So I don't know. I've had white men, white women. Well, the white woman did micromanage. That was annoying. But other than her, the majority of my experience has just kind of been, it was, for me, I don't look at stuff like that. I'm just always trying to make sure I'm doing what I need to do and be better so I can move forward. So I don't want to give people a reason. And if some people just people, but far as the white and black thing, I can't really say I've had that experience because I've had wonderful black women and white men and everybody kind of moved me to where I'm at now.
Yeah. For me, I don't think it's a race thing. I would just say it's like a gender thing. Like I've always preferred male supervisors and bosses over female supervisors and bosses. Just because I see, at least in my opinion, and I work in the medical field, I feel like women are very, like Nikki was saying, very micromanaging, very passive aggressive. But I feel like I've had better experiences with male managers, male superiors. They just seem to I don't know, take what you say into consideration. They're more about the no nonsense when it comes to drama and shutting down cattiness, in my opinion. So I would just say men in general, not just white men.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. I think I agree that it is a gender thing. Like it is more women versus in comparison to men because I've had white women supervisors and it's the same thing as if it was a black woman. So I definitely think it is women, when women are in places of authority. I feel we have to or I feel like women try harder to show show that they have authority, so they try to make it oh yeah, I have this authority, I have this power, this is my position, and they try harder, I guess, than I mean I they try harder to show that they have that power than I guess men. I think it's easier for men to just be in these positions, and I feel like women make it harder on ourselves in those type of
And
positions.
also, I just thought about it. I was a boss to people. So I wasn't like that. So, but
I
good
think
from
there's some. I
top.
think she's valid in
How do you
certain.
know?
Go ahead.
Huh?
How do you
Because
know?
they love that. Because they've always told me, and for me, that was actually my first time in that supervisory role. So I understood how to treat people. I've always understood that. So I didn't want to micromanage because I don't have time for that. If I hired you for what I hired you for. And even with me, I actually went into a place where the girl had been there for about 3 years and applied for the job, but I got the job. But
Where,
we ended up
where,
being really, good friends. So it was okay. I don't think so. I've never gotten any complaints. People came back to me to get jobs. Like I said, I tried to manage a work family balance. I don't carry a grudge or an attitude. So that's just not me. I'm always trying to be a light in a dark place.
well, I
Well,
think
at least
in
I'm
my
not.
experience, I've had. It's not always negative with my black employers, but it always they reacted to me more emotional. Like I've always got, they've treated me more like a friend and not in a beneficial way. Either I've been told, oh, can I pay you on this date? Because I know you, or can you come in or do something on off the clock, but still, what I mean, work for me, but not get paid, different things like that. But I feel like a lot of situations with black employers is that they have a sense of I worked hard to get here, and so I need you to work hard to be here, type of thing.
King, you don't got direct deposit?
I was just about to say, what industry is
Well,
that?
No, well,
I'm in
I do a lot.
the
So I do a lot of independent work. My work, I don't work in a 9 to 5. So I'm just talking about in my arena and stuff. So
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think another aspect of this is because it's a gender thing. I think one thing the men have to actually be cautious to how they act and how they interact with women. And then I think on the women's side, sometimes they understand the game. So when the women try to play the game, they don't want to put up with it, or they're just not going to take the stuff that the men would normally back off on because of that the difference in gender. I mean, I think that could be an aspect of it.
I think rhetoric like that is part of the problem. And hear me out before y'all come jumping down my throat, right? I think it's a people issue, not necessarily tied to a race and not tied to a gender. I've had great black supervisors. I've had horrible black supervisors. I've had great white supervisors. I've had horrible white supervisors. It's a people thing. And I will say this is part of the reason why I lead with grace, especially as it relates to people, because I know how it feels to be boxed in based off of how you show up. And this is why I say that sometimes black women just can't be. I could literally be thinking about clouds and rainbows and my face might look like this. And now I'm unapproachable. And it's like, bro, you're making assumptions about me. You don't know me. I could be thinking about something completely different. I don't have any attitude. I don't have any of that, but you'll just see me thinking and assume that I have an attitude, and people lead with that. So now that dictates how you treat me, how you perceive me. Now I'm a supervisor who you can't come to. I'm not approachable. So this is why I lead and show grace. If I'm dealing with a supervisor who may be a certain way, you know what? I chalk it up. That could just be how they are, or maybe that's just their temperament, or maybe they could be having a bad day. But I don't automatically assume these things about them. So I absolutely did not like what the girl was saying. But then also, Shorty, who had the red on, she also added to the rhetoric of like how certain people show up in spaces and why people get perceived the way that they get perceived. Like I think that's absolutely wrong.
Now,
Remember
so
when we had
I
that
do agree. Oh,
conversation?
sorry.
You remember when we had the conversation? We had this conversation. I think one of our first
We
conversations
did.
just
And
about the
then I'll
risk.
also say this. I'll also say this because I don't go around slanging my credentials or anything around, but I've had very high positions. I've also supervised. I've also hired. So when I do, I have to be super cognizant of how I'm seen, and I have to be palatable because
But
I
that's
know that
okay. That's just what I was gonna say.
I'm already
Sometimes that resting
assuming.
bitch face is just not even cute, and we have to be intentional. And even if
But
you
but
at work,
Nikki,
you're almost playing a role.
it's
It's
not
work.
realistic to go around walking like this all the time.
Well, no, it's not
That's
that.
not
It's
realistic.
just
It's either this or I'm like,
you got to practice a pleasant face.
Yes,
But that's the thing. But
absolutely
like,
the case.
Because
why
the
should I
resting
have to
bitch
stress
face
out my
ain't
facial
given like a
muscles?
lot of us think it's given. I'm telling you,
And
especially
it
the older
doesn't
we get.
it
Like
doesn't matter
my
what you're
resting
thinking
bitch
about.
face is gone. I have to figure out another pleasant face because the
Yeah.
resting bitch face is dead. It's over. I'm too old for it.
And
It's over.
to
So you
your
have to
point,
intentionally be pleasant. Keep trying to figure it out. I used to model. We got trained on facial expressions and all of those good things.
But
So
why
it's a
should Black women have to do that?
you don't have to because
So
once you like,
Everybody
even
does
if
it.
you want to learn how to say you want to stop cussing, you have to intentionally stop doing that. So any type of negative behavior, something that might perceive you, especially if we want this husband and this baby we trying to get out of you, we have to have a pleasant face. We have to practice these things. We have to practice everything that we've been talking about. It's not going to be easy. It's a process.
yeah.
So are these classes that white women got to take too, or is it just
I
Black?
don't know why I keep
They're
telling you I don't
raised.
care about no darn
They're
white people. I'm talking about our people and our
they're
pleasantries and how
raised
people
It
that
seems
way.
like
perceive us.
we're making this toward Black
And
women.
yes,
Only Black women have to work on their
no,
face.
they faces way older than ours, way ahead of time. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. So
I'm talking about us.
there's
Yes,
so
we're
much
talking
there's
about
so much
They
us.
resting
better.
bitch
That's
face.
what the
They can't.
issue
That's
is.
just what it is. And I'm
That was
sorry.
good
I
one,
know I
Nikki.
love you, my good white people, but
Um,
that's just what it is.
and I mean, if they,
I
I just think it's funny. Like we always got to go ahead and just hurry up and throw in like what another culture is doing in order to do regular stuff. Like if we know we the ones that have the issue with that face and being pleasant or coming off pleasant, it doesn't matter what we're thinking about. Like how you look, are you approachable? Just like we're not gonna be approaching some, white guy that looks weird or like a creeper that he, kidnaps people. Like we put those things in our head, like we're not gonna go past by that person because of how they look. So it's like it's common sense. It's just common sense.
I also just wanted to add to that point just about like, you were saying like it's like not normal, I guess, or to see somebody just like, happy go lucky smiling all the time as a woman. But I
No,
think
that's not
that
what I said. I said walking around like this 24/7 isn't
is
normal.
that
You
not
add
happy go
extra, you add
lucky?
extra seasoning on there that I ain't put.
Okay, well, is that not happy go lucky? I'm confused. Is
No,
cheating?
that's not synonymous with happy go lucky. Walking around like this doesn't mean.
Okay, well, I don't
You gotta
understand the
learn how
face.
to
So I'm just trying to
smize.
put a word. Basically, I'm trying to put a word to the face that you gave, but I'll
Which
put a
is the
word to the
face.
face that you gave. So smiling all the time is basically seen as something that is unattainable. But in my opinion, that right there, that rhetoric, especially from Black women, is something that I face. I'm a very, happy, bubbly, I'm always smiling person. And I never, until I moved to a predominantly Black space, had never heard, oh my God, why you smiling all the time? Why you so happy all the time? What you got to smile about? That only came from Black women. And so to hear you say that like in real time, like as if it's like a goal that we shouldn't have, it's like there's nothing wrong with being
Add what I ain't added.
super,
Add that.
uppity or upbeat and things like that.
I
And
didn't
that's
add.
and that's exactly what they tell you. Like, because I was the same way. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you're weird. Like, why are you smiling all the time? That's weird." Like, that makes them uncomfortable to
Yeah,
see
and
someone
it see
actually.
and it affects you negatively if you are that type of person, because then it's like, damn, so I like, again, to your point, you might be perceived a certain type of way. And I'm not saying that I've never been, had white coworkers be like, oh, Cameron made me feel a certain type of way or something like that, but that is not everybody's overall POV of me. If you ask a majority of people, that's not what they would say. But if you ask majority of people what they would say about you in that sense, like, is that always how you present yourself, or is that just a one-off? To your point, like, obviously I think we should take into consideration if someone's just having an off day, but if you're always having an RBF every single day, if your normal mannerism to just sitting is okay, I'm going to assume you're not a very happy person. I don't think that's me insinuating anything negative. I think you're showing me you don't usually smile. You're not really.
Oh, you just
Hmm?
said that you assuming, so that you're That's an
Well, I'm
oxymoron.
saying, is it a real
But
distinction
nobody's
if it's
gonna.
something that you're putting out on a regular basis? Like, obviously, yes, if you're having a bad day, if someone's having a bad day, yeah, I might come into work one day and not want to talk and might, be off. But that's not my displacement every single day. If you would ask somebody how I am every single day, it would be Cameron's always super uppity. She's always smiling. She's like always happy go lucky. So that's why I'm saying I don't think people have those type of viewpoints of us on an everyday basis if that's not how we're presenting ourselves every day.
And if anything, just to add to what Cam is saying, if anything, that's gonna generate more questions like, what's wrong with her? Is she okay? And nobody's gonna want to directly ask you, like, Jess, are you okay? Like, because a lot of times if women get that question, are you okay? They start crying. So it's like people don't want to get into your business or nothing like that. They be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not talking to Jess. She look like she got something going on. Let me go over there to Jim. Let me go over there to Becky. Let me go over there to Sally. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Y'all,
just what it is. But if you're smiling all the time, nobody has any questions. And it doesn't matter what's going on
I
at
do. Do you?
home or anything like that. Nobody's really like, oh, Cam, are you okay? You're smiling. Oh my God. Like,
Like,
unless it's something
yes.
abnormal.
Like,
So
when I
it's
tell
like,
you, I come into work and if I ever have a down face or something looks wrong with me, everybody, management, whoever, literally, as soon as I walk in, Cameron, are you okay? Has your day been all right? Are you okay? Because every day hey, how's everybody doing? Y'all have a great day. This is me just every day with anybody. It's, not even just at work, just in my everyday life. And not to say that, you have to change yourself to be that person. But I do think that if you want that more palatable thing that you were speaking on, I don't think it has to come from an angle of being fake and being happy all the time. I think you should genuinely just be that happy person.
In certain industries, you're gonna have to be that way. Like in
yes.
certain, like looks matters. Like we can't in certain industries, looks matters. They're gonna hire you because you look a certain way, you present yourself a certain way, you speak a certain way, and it's gonna get you far, especially if you're in the sales industry. Like no person wants to deal with someone in sales or a client when you have a resting bee face and you're really not nice like to talk to or even homely to talk to. And in certain industries, yeah, you might have to put on a little fake facade around certain people, and I will do it. Hello, yes, put the happy smile.
It's going to get you further
Sir,
along
how are
the line.
you?
If I want a discount, if I'm going up to the airlines, I don't pay for a seat, and I'm thinking, okay, which person's going to be sitting next to the window? I want to look who looks the happiest and the nicest to where they're going to sit me where I want to sit. And I'm going to go towards that person and they're going to sit me where I want to sit.
And I'm going to use my femininity to do it.
I think a bigger picture of this is ultimately just taking criticism and being able to apply it to improve your overall life. Like just earlier, I think part of the thing I have an issue with is I have thoughts and they all come in my head at once and I try to get it all out. So, people in the chat are saying, slow down. Anton saying, slow down. That's something you take in consideration and you apply it. And just to be able to communicate and interact with people, I'm not offended to it because it's the truth. Like I know it's the truth. This is something I know about myself. I reflect on it and I try to apply it. I'm not going to say like, oh, you're just stupid for saying it. You just got to kind of take in consideration to the people that are around you.
And it's not saying you always gotta like the whole smile. No, you can smile without even showing your teeth, with your eyes, like with how your presence is. So it's just no, Jess, don't do that because you look weird as hell.
But I did what you said though, Q.
No,
I ain't doing it right.
Never
mind.
You trying too much. Like you see,
you gotta smile.
No,
it's
why
like
you doing that? No, Jess.
No, girl, you just being silly.
Just there with a little smirk, smile with your
Why,
eyes.
why we can't just be honest and admit that Black women supervisors are the worst?
Why do you think they're the worst?
Because they're not the worst, Anton.
I was the best.
Black women
there are some bad
supervisors
ones,
are
yes,
the
but there are some
worst.
bad ones of other races.
Why do you think so?
Because they just, first of all, I think that they're more competitive towards other Black women. It's not even towards the men. I think that it's more or less towards women than it is to men. And I think that women, in a lot of default settings, Black women, they tend to see each other as competition. They don't see each other as, when you get into a corporate environment, when you get to a certain level, usually you'll have mentorship. You'll have people focused on trying to promote you to make you better. They work with you to ensure that you are more successful. They ask you what your goals are, right? They usually have a bi-weekly with you. I have heard so many women that have complained about their female supervisors. They don't do that with their white male supervisors. They just don't.